What's up, fellas? It's Mark Parson, cornerback pro, former NFL cornerback of the Houston Texans and the New Orleans Saints, and now I'm coaching you guys up. Today, we have part 3 of NC State's first day of fall camp. We're doing one-on-ones because guess what? That's when you can show out. That's when you work on your skills. Remember, hit me up, cornerbackpro@gmail.com. Guys, I have over 7 press man techniques, but so much more. That's in the one-on-ones mastery program. We got our catching series. We got our mind and body training program. You get all of that for the price of one. And then hit me up and ask for the Zoom sessions. We're doing 30-minute Zoom sessions, private Zoom sessions with you and me. We're going to go over so much. We're going to jam-pack so much information. And we're going to personalize however you are and where you are in your journey to become elite, get a scholarship, go pro, all of that. All right. We talk about life. We get your routine in check. All right. So make sure you guys ask me for both of that. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right. So this is where we left off yesterday. All right. Let's talk about it. Press man. Man, I'm going to tell you something, man. If you guys can get elite in press man and lock down a whole side like prime time, right? If you can get really good, this can take your game to another level and you can get so much more. Your value increases tremendously. So you got to think of things in life. How can I add value to wherever I am? So your coach, remember this. Your coach, he has to put food on the table for his family. So he has to win. So if you got a DB coach, don't be like, man, my coach won't play me because X, Y, Z. You just got to think, I got to be more valuable. All right, to the point where he has no choice but to put you on the field. All right, so let's talk about this. This is one of the techniques. It's called an inch back or soft shoe. All right, Coach David Gibbs. I think he's a DC or DB coach now in Auburn. He was at Texas Tech. He called it soft shoe. It's where you inch back. Now, on this technique, we're going to start breaking down a little bit more on the techniques too. So I'm giving it to you for free. Now, I actually demonstrated in the one-on-ones mastery program. It's a video series of all the techniques, which you can, at home, chilling, quarantine, you can basically go over it, watch the video, and become elite, and actually do it and implement it in your game. All right, so look. Eyes are going to be extremely important in your soft shoe technique. All right, because you're giving ground. It's more of a passive technique. Remember, you have aggressive techniques, and then you have passive, right? Now, when he thinks you're going to be aggressive, that's when you be passive. When he thinks you're going to be passive, that's when you be aggressive. Deception is your friend in ball. Deception. All right, with this being said, eyes, if your eyes are on his chest or his head, you're screwed already before the play even starts. You have to maintain eye discipline, because what happens is when your eyes raise up and he has a little wiggle with them, he has little shakes, and I can usually tell. I can stand behind you back here when we're working on that, in person. I'll teach you guys in person if you come to Richmond, Virginia, and I can tell if your head is shaking, I know your eyes are on his waist. Your eyes are up here, and then you're gonna get on your heels, and then it's gonna look real bad, right? So eyes. Oh, let's go, man. We're gonna break this down, fellas. D1A talent, but we can always get better. I don't care who you are, and that's how Deion Sanders was, man. That dude, no matter, bro, he was the best corner in the game. Everybody was calling him best, and he still hustled, he still worked. All right, so here's what I remember, and I talked about it. Coach David Gibbs liked our hands to be up here, right? And I'm gonna say something. What is the first thing that his hands do? They do come down, right? So I'm like, man, what's the point of having them up that high? Now he made us put our hands up there, and maybe hands up here is like, it's like I talk about when you're a boxer, right? When you're fighting, hands down, man down. So I understand this is what I recommend. You can do what your coach says. You can do what feels comfortable to you. I say don't have to be too high, because then it just feels awkward. You ever play basketball and you're guarding somebody? It just feels weird, right? It's like my feet don't operate when it's like that. But then if your hands are all the way low down here, if he does a power release or he smacks you in the head, you ever seen guys smack you in the head? Never let that happen. Threaten to fight them if they do that. Just to let you know, we're not having that. It's illegal, first of all. But if they do a power release, your hands aren't ready to strike. So I say in between. So the first focus, and I actually skipped feet, but I just want to let you know. So it's eyes, always think eyes, feet, hands. Break everything down in threes. Okay? So boom. Your hands should be in the middle. You know, it's more comfortable. Not too high, not too low, and a sweet spot in the middle. All right. Now let's go feet. So inch back. Now the good thing about this guy, he didn't like backpedal back. Always recommending an inch back. Do not take more than 3 steps back, fellas. So you inch back, your eyes on his waist, you give ground a little bit, and then after at most 3 steps back, that's when we start. We anchor down, and then we take 1 to 2 shuffles laterally. So this dude does an outside release, right? Now here's the thing. We didn't get one shuffling. We immediately crossed over. So what does that do? Because remember what the receiver wants. He wants to maintain that line, especially if he's doing a comeback. So we weren't able to take any shuffles. Okay, that sucks for us. He takes that weak shoulder. What is a weak shoulder, coach? See, I learned this. I learned about the weak shoulder when I was hanging out with Billy McMullen and him coaching his receivers. So we inch back. We got our soft shoe technique. The goal is to widen out to where it will bow him out, right? But that doesn't happen. We immediately cross, and that, you know what? That may happen sometimes. I'm just coaching you guys. I want you to work on perfection, and you may not ever obtain perfection, but the striving for perfection is what you should desire, right? So boom. Be careful with shooting 2 hands at the same time. It can throw you off balance. Your hips get locked. Now, here's what happens. Matter of fact, let me see how deep this route is. So he starts right here. Let's see how this comeback. Oops. 1 second. Let's watch it. 14. Okay. Oh man, this is beautiful. So let's talk about this. If you don't get a good press, now what's a good press? Disruption of time between a receiver and quarterback, stand square, bowing him out. If he's able to take this weak shoulder, what's a weak shoulder? When you angle off, so when you angle or you cross, you cross over and you don't get at least 1 or 2 shuffles that bows him out, a good receiver is going to swipe the hand down and he's going to maintain that line. Let's see where he is. Shoot, the receiver could have attacked him even more, actually. And you'll see NFL guys really good at that. I mean, NFL receivers, man, I'm telling you, the elite NFL receivers, I mean, it's like poetry in motion, man. I wish you guys could see it in person. Go to NFL practices, fellas. Like, go to a legit when they're really going at it, like a training camp practice. I wouldn't necessarily go to like an end of the season practice because they're not really, they're trying to save the body because it's a long haul. But man, so each level it goes to the next level. So like in high school, if you watch a Under Armour or Nike Rivals camp, not even the finals, you'll see receivers immediately running all over here. It's just terrible, right? That's why I said you corners, man. Once you learn my techniques, you freaking ball out against these sorry dudes, right? Then in college they start getting better, especially D1A. And then the NFL, good luck. All right, so notice how the receiver takes that weak shoulder and he doesn't. He's basically the same area where he started. That's a no-no for us. So if that happens, remember I said break everything down in threes. So when you're learning man coverage, it starts at the beginning, right? So where am I supposed to look at? What's my technique? What am I supposed to think? What's his alignment? That all happens this is the first part. Then you have a second part. That's when he's running up the field, right? So right here, we have to be thinking after we have our press technique. So that's the first part of man coverage, right? And it goes, we'll talk about off man and everything, but let's say just press man for now. You immediately have to understand that you have to take this space away. You have to squeeze, fellas. So right here, we go over technique. Like when you train with me, we break everything down in threes. So we'll go over press, technique, reps. And then we'll work on squeezing and transition. You can't just run with the guy. If you just run with the guy, this is what happens. He knows when he's going to break. He knows I'm coming out at 14. That's the top of my stem. And there's no disruption of time. So when the quarterback goes off, it's a 5-step drop, right? So remember, you got 3-step, 5-step. It's timing. You ever heard announcers say, well, Drew Brees and Marcus Colston worked all summer together and they got their timing together. Yo, 5-step drop out of shotgun, 1, 2, bum, bum, bum. It's coming out. And this is a bad ball. This is a terrible ball. This should have been a pick. You see what I'm saying? So when you squeeze with the guy, if you get a good press, you squeeze with him, he bowls him out, he's not going to get to 14 yards, and he's going to be all the way over here. So don't just run with the guy. You have to have in your mind, and it only comes from, you got to know what to do, and that's why you have me. It's a free resource I'm giving you right now, fellas. This is nuts. You got to know what to do and then implement it over time, and then it will be in your mind. You won't even have to think about it. It becomes second nature. You got to make great technique second nature. So right here, you can't just run with a guy. You got to squeeze. You got to be pestering him. You got to be an annoying gnat, widening him out. He doesn't like to be touched. I promise you. Receivers don't like to be touched. He knows he's going to break it down at 14. It's a comeback. And then the thing is, if you're on him, you can feel those hips drop. Because that's the only way he can break. And this is a terrible ball, man. It's a pick, fellas. Now, so you got the press man. We went over that. He went inch back. He did soft shoe, right? So we got to make sure, how do we get better, coach? I'm not critiquing this guy. I don't even know these guys, all right? What I'm doing is, we're constructively, yeah, we are critiquing, but it's constructively. So let's go over it. Press man, he chose the soft shoe technique. Cool. All right, and there's certain ways where you can perfect that. I would recommend that we get at least 1 to 2 shuffles, if possible, right here, because that will help us bow him out. Be careful with shooting 2 hands. Alternating strike. Pop, pop. Then, on the second phase, there you go, that's the right word. I was saying the part. Second phase of coverage, we have to have in our mind, squeeze. I got to squeeze this guy. I got to run and got to squeeze. And there's a particular technique that you can use with that. And then right here, and we call it, ball drills at the top of the stem. At the third and final phase of ball, you got to finish. Now, I think, let's watch it. Oh, man, it breaks my heart right there, fellas. You can't do all of this work and then give up. Oh, man. Fellas, right here is a terrible ball. That's why you always got to finish. Tips, overthrows, just bad balls. Even if you get beat, if you have in your mind, I got to hustle no matter what. No matter what. Right here, okay. You know what? He beat you to the break. So the freak what? Bruh. He let up. Let's watch it all together. I'm sorry, man. Fellas. Fellas, right here. You could be the man right here. Hustle. Don't let up. So even D1A players do it, but in the NFL guys do it, Super Bowl guys do it. But I'm here to tell you, got to practice, have perfect practice, fellas. So finish. There's 3 phases to man. So, man, I got a lot of other footage to do. I got a Richard Sherman video, one-on-ones to break down, and I got a whole, yo, this is 1 rep, man. Man. All right, so hopefully you learned something. Implement this, guys. Go through the whole channel. Implement everything I'm teaching you. Get the one-on-ones mastery program. Make sure you email me and ask me. Let's get our Zoom session so we can get your routine situated. And if you already bought the by the way, if you're one of my longtime students, you already bought the one-on-ones mastery programs and stuff, yo, I'll give you for the price of I'll drop the price in half for the Zoom. All right? Because I already know you're hungry, and that's the only type of people I deal with anyways, man. Guys who want to get it. All right, so break everything down in 3s. Learn the techniques. Learn it. Constantly go over it. And then implementation. I promise you I'm the best in this. I'm the best in the world, man. I just turn on film and I can see everything, man. It's like, I'm gonna do this in my sleep. And that's how I want you to feel when you out there covering guys. All right, hit me up, fellas. Peace.